Hey, welcome friends to the sixth installment of the Austin Ableton Workshop Series presented by the Austin Ableton User Group. I am your host for the evening, Alberto Chapa, Ableton Certified Trainer in Austin. Time's been flying and we're already close to the end of this awesome workshop series. I want to thank Ableton for supporting us. I want to thank Seraphin, our brand manager for the Southwest, for supporting this event too and setting a lot of these opportunities up for having great people share their talent and share their ideas. So as these are running to the end of the 8-week workshop series, we wanted to let everybody know that if you have something interesting that you want to share, let us know. There's a link in the description. We want to keep this community going online, and we want to hear what the people that have been joining us are up to. Even if it's a small project or a tip or a cool sound that you develop that you want to share with other Ableton users, let us know. You can find the link in the description. Also, don't forget that these workshops are meant to build community here in Austin among Ableton users. I know that you're out there and you're really hard to find and get in the same room. So hopefully virtually we can all learn a little bit about each other and our projects. So don't be afraid to ask questions during the event. Uh, these events are designed so that you can get access to presenters like Jean-Paul tonight, who's going to share a lot of knowledge, and this is an opportunity to pick his brain. Also, drop any links to music or projects that you've got going on in the description so we can get to know what you're up to, and tell us where you're from and where you're connecting from. Uh, my tongue is tied tonight. But before we get to that, don't forget that we need to give a shout out to Tom Carlisle because he's another certified trainer here in Austin that's been really working hard to keep the Ableton user group in Austin active online. He created a few spaces for us to connect, and you can find those at meetup.com. Also, the Facebook group that a lot of you are watching us on, which is Ableton ATX. And you can also find us on abletoneers.com, which is a portal that Tom created so that people can connect on there and share their work and also learn about events like this as we program them throughout the year. You can also look for the Ableton Ears Discord that Tom set up for us to connect on. And please, as we get started, don't forget to post your questions in the comment section and let us know what you're up to with your Ableton projects. So without further ado, I want to introduce our guest this week, Jean-Paul Grobben, who's connecting with us from Amsterdam, and he's going to share some awesome techniques for controlling lights and video using Ableton Live. What's up, Jean-Paul?
Thank you. Hey, thank you for having me, man. Great to be
No,
here in my own studio, but yeah, talking with you and hopefully with people watching. And yeah, thanks for
well,
having me. Let's start, I guess.
yeah, the stream is yours, man. I'll get
All
out of the
right,
way, and I'll be here to support collecting questions.
sure. All right, thank you. So yeah, I'm Jean Paul. I work at ShowSync, and I guess I should tell you a little bit about what I do at ShowSync. So first of all, let me share my screen just for a second. There we go. I have the website open here. So ShowSync, that's our website. We have a couple of great products. First of all, VideoSync and Beam, which I'm gonna show you all about tonight. So VideoSync is, a video extension for Ableton Live that allows you to play back video in its session view. We'll get back to that as well. And Beam is for controlling lighting, as you can see. Then next we also have free tools, which are just free downloadable Max for Live plugins. One that sends out an MTC signal, so you can link it to Pro Tools, things like that. So useful tools, for certain type of situations. But our main focus is VideoSync and Beam. So what do I do at ShowSync? Well, I mostly do like customer support. I work on the support website that we have here with all the manuals. Recently, I started working on a blog for ShowSync, so we can post some interesting articles from time to time to hopefully inspire people. More about that as well later. Um, and one thing I do a lot, currently at least, is styling the Max for Live devices for ShowSync in the different products that we use. So I've done some of them, and I'm still working on some. I can show you a little bit about what I do in just a bit. So if you're wondering why I'm looking to the side, I have an extra screen here with some notes just to keep me on track. Because we have an hour, and we can go on a little bit longer than that, because I'm sure there will be questions, and I want to give you the opportunity as well to, of course, ask those questions and get answers to them. So with VideoSync and Beam, what are we trying to achieve as a user, but also as the creators of VideoSync and Beam? Ableton Live has a great interface, although I must say that the session view for a lot of people, the first time they see it, can be a bit of a head scratcher, because most people are used to, let me get rid of this Zoom thing, goodbye. So most of the people are used to seeing, the timeline as soon as they open up Live, and in Live we have the session view. However, most people use the session view either for doing creative jams in the studio at home or wherever, or doing live performances. And it's great for that, no doubt about it. But what if we could extend it with video and lighting? That's the whole point of VideoSync and Beam, without having to learn like a whole new application. That's definitely the benefit of this. Because of course there are other solutions that have been out there already for a long time, for example Resolume, but it's a standalone app and it has its own workflow, and so it takes some more time, I guess, to get to know it. So also it's nice to just stay in the same project, have everything in one place, and save it, open it as it is, and just do your show without having to worry about too many different links. Or different screens that you need to monitor everything, for example. Now you can just put everything in Live, and let me show you how that works and how smooth this works. So after installation, you download the app, you get the VideoSync app, you put that in the application folder, very simple. And then as soon as you open VideoSync for the first time, which I'm not doing now for the first time, but when you do, it will introduce a small installation process where it tells you that it has to install a control surface. And a control surface is something here in the preferences of Live. So we have 6 control surfaces that we can use to control certain things, obviously. So anyway, through the control surface, Live communicates with VideoSync. And as you can see, VideoSync right now, it's just a black screen. There's no really a lot of extra buttons or features hidden in this, except for perhaps like the preferences, which I can get to later. And in the top right corner of our screen, we have just a status icon with a few settings and configurations. Let me get rid of this website in the background just right now, and maybe make this full screen, because this VideoSync window will just always stay on top of Live. So how do we get a video in there? Let's get started. So I have a video here. These are just MP4 files, and normally when you drag a video file in one of these slots, Ableton will tell you that, hey, I cannot do anything with this video content that you have here. It can play audio, but it cannot play video. It can play video in the timeline here, but that is mostly meant to compose music to a moving image. What we want to do is perform with video. So normally it shows you a little warning like, hey, I can do anything with video. Then you say don't show again, and it will never show up again because it no longer needs to. Because now this is a video file, just press play, and boom, there it is. It's playing, and I can use the volume control here to control the opacity of the video. I have a mute button, a solo button, so if I would have multiple videos, let's actually do that. Put a second one in here. Trigger that, and now I can solo this one, or solo this one, and mute the ones that I don't need, control the volume to control the opacity. It's very simple. So videos live on audio channels, And you can treat them exactly the same as you would with audio files. So warping works. So that means that if you speed up the project, and as you can see, the videos will play back faster as well. So warping is the same as with audio. It's all really simple. If you only want to use like a portion of the video, you can, just like with audio, use these brackets to only use like a smaller portion of this video. And you solo that one. So that one just loops now for this first little part. You can also change the warp markers with one little addition. If you want to have VideoSync do something with those warp markers as well, you also have to save the file. That's just a limitation of Live. It doesn't do that automatically. You have to save the file. And that's simply because VideoSync reads the warp information from the ASD file that is automatically created whenever you import a video or audio file in Live. So it's these extra ASD files. That's where that data is stored. Okay, so that's really the very basics of VideoSync. Let me get rid of these extra channels because we don't really need those. Reset this. There we go. And solo this one. Okay, so now what if I want to, let's say, apply an effect on this video? Then I can go to my user library, because the first time you open VideoSync, it also installs, aside from the control service, it also installs the plugins here in the user library. So today we're working with VideoSync 0.9.5. So we have a couple different versions here just from the last couple months. Anyway, so let me just take a simple blur effect, and I'll put this on the first audio channel. I can link this horizontal and vertical blurring, and voila, we have a very simple blurring effect. Now, this blur effect currently is only applied to this first video channel. So if I turn off solo, now I see both videos again. You see that one is like blurry in the background, and this one is on top of that, because tracks are blended, let's say calculated in left to right order. But currently that actually doesn't even matter, because I can just put this one here and this one here as well. It doesn't change. I cannot really say which one is on top this way, but there are some settings that you can change for that with properties. So this is just the properties plugin. It's a plugin that has some extra settings for a channel should you want to change these settings. And one of the very important one is the different blend modes. So the default blend mode is additive, which simply means that all pixels will be added together. Whereas with alpha, it really means that this layer is now on top. So as you can see, the blurred layer is now really the only one we see, and this one is underneath that. And then why is it called alpha? Because alpha is a channel, the alpha channel, which controls opacity data. So if you have a video that has like opaque parts in the image, then that will then you will see through those parts. So you would see the other video under it. So that's a lot of interesting ways you can work with blend modes. I don't want to get into all those things too much. But that's the properties device that we can use. So what if I want to use an effect on both these channels at the same time? Then I just group these two. And instead of having that effect on this one channel, I put it on the group. Now it's blurring both my images, which isn't very pleasant to look at. There we go. That's much better. Okay, what if I want to reposition the image, or change its size, for example, for one of the two videos? Then I put a transform device, and of course, I name all the devices. It's not really important, but yeah, whatever. Transform. So we can change the position here. So I'm moving one image horizontally right now, and then vertically we can zoom. Let me turn off this other video. Oh, well, this is not getting any prettier, but at least you can see what you can do with it. So I can make this smaller. There we go. So I could even use this like in a background maybe. I can blur this again and just make this like this interesting sort of spot there in the background. This reminds me of GTA, if anyone, yeah, whatever. The game. So then we have this one still here. We can do something else with that, maybe transform. Yeah, let's make this a little bit smaller and maybe move this to the side up here. I don't know. I'm just doing some stuff. And of course, this is just with general videos, and these videos loop. It doesn't really respond musically yet. Of course, you can do that in many different ways, the same you would do with audio. So for example, if I maybe, let's see, what shall we do? Yeah, let's get a max for live iPhone here. And then if we, let's say, map the scale parameter now, and then make it link to the tempo of the project, you could like, oh boy, this is maybe a bit too much, but let's decrease the depth. Let's way decrease the depth and the speed. There we go. And maybe the waveform. So now it just goes. Wait a minute. All right, so now it's just the horizontal axis. There you go. So you can go as far as you like with this. Okay, so but let's move on to something else. I think we've seen all this. Let's get rid of these effects, because you can use, let's say, yeah, a drum rack would be a great example here. But first, before we put something in a drum rack, we need an actual instrument to put into drum rack. And we're very used to using Simpler for audio in that sense. So let's check out the little instruments folder right here. Here we have Simpler, and so it's the same name. Let's get rid of these old videos here. So here we have a Simpler device, which looks kind of similar to the audio Simpler. There we go, there it is. And it has a lot of the same features. And in that sense, it works the same as the audio Simpler, but then it applies to video. So for example, I can grab a video. And maybe for this one, let's take a more basic shape. So let's take a growing circle and let's put it in here. Now I'm just going to, let's see, does my keyboard still work? Bluetooth keyboards. It's awesome. Connection lost. There we go. All right. And oh, this is, I'm an idiot. That's, that's the audio Simpler. So let's trigger a note here. There we go. Okay. So now I'm just pressing a key, and whenever I'm pressing that key, that video is triggered. And as you can see, it's just a video, a simple video of a growing white circle. And so I can just press notes like this. And of course, I can group the Simpler device and add another chain, add an audio Simpler now. And I don't know, maybe let's use a kick. And now every time I trigger, maybe it's starting a bit too early. Oh shit, that's right. This is an old bug, it's fixed already. So there we go. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. So there you see what effect that has if you combine a sound with a video like that. And of course you can do this with an entire drum kit. So let's get to it. We can take a drum rack, and of course we have these slots down here, and we take this instrument rack and simply put it into one of these slots. There we go, we have a drum rack now controlling video and audio at the same time. And we have 2 separate chains for each. So we can put audio effects on here, and we can put video effects on here. And then the great thing about that is that we're working in a rack, which has macro knobs. So we can use macros to control certain parameters of audio and video at the same time. So for example, you can, probably the lamest example, but use a filter while controlling the opacity of a certain image. So that while you close the filter, the sound, dampens, but also the video goes down in brightness. So, simple things like that, or you can, the sky is the limit, basically. It works. Kind of not sure what I'm trying to say here anymore, but I guess if you're used to the workflow of live, then I think you can really see the potential of working this way. It's, it's exactly the same workflow as with audio. But yeah, now you can use video. So for example, if I now want to, and we're back, yes. So user library, let's take another effect, the color control. And I'm putting this, behind this filter. And now I have 3 color bands right here. I have light, and I'm just going to use light and dark. And so that means that if a pixel goes below a certain brightness, then this color is applied. If it's above a certain brightness, then this color is applied. So all the bright pixels will now turn yellow, all the darker pixels will turn purple. But there are no dark pixels because the brightness doesn't change with this circle. But what do we have for that? We have a release. So now if I trigger the note, I can just let go. And as you can see, now the video will fade out. The whiteness will fade out, but then a color is applied to those white darkening pixels. Wow.
Jean-Paul, I have a question. Is any
Yeah.
of that, have you worked out a way to velocity map that?
So yeah, basically there's a little button down here which says OPA and vel, so opacity and velocity. So I think this is what you mean, right? So videos can be responsive to velocity as well, and you determine that with this little knob down here. The same way you would with Simpler, only it's a little, here it is. There you go, with the audio Simpler. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's very cool. And actually, if you have, we have another question. Somebody was asking, what's a good source for getting these videos? Where do you find the videos to work with?
So I didn't make any of these videos myself. The ones that I have in this folder, these are free to download videos by Beeple. So we just go to Beeple. I think it's Beeple Crap or something. He has like a really weird address. BeepleCrap.com. There you go.
I'll put it in the comment section.
Yeah. So this is just a website here. You can download like free packs with videos like this. So you can just start playing around with them. Great guy. So that's what we're using. But that's if you want to work with existing video. So we can create stuff ourselves as well in all different ways. You can do a lot of stuff with these simple shapes, for example. But let me move on maybe to another project. I guess that would be interesting. Unless you have more questions you want answered right now.
Not so far.
Okay, cool. No problem. Where am I looking, ladies and gentlemen? I should be in here. There we are. This one's nice and simple, but it shows something very interesting about VideoSync, which is a part of that integration with Live. I'll get to that in just a second. So we have squares. It's just one channel, and it's called squares because the instrument on this channel is called square. So this is a MIDI channel. We have an instrument starting here, and then we have a couple of video effects living behind it. So what does squares do? Well, as you might guess, it generates squares. So let me just press play here for a second. And we get 2 squares. Why do we get 2 squares? Well, we have a MIDI clip, which is just a 1-bar loop, as you can see. It has 2 little notes in here. one on a C3 and one on a D3. So it skips the black notes, the C sharp and the D sharp here. But if I would trigger those, you would see two little squares on the right side of the screen. Yay, so we have four little happy squares here. Okay, why four? Well, we have a grid that we can set here. So we have two columns right now and two rows. We can extend that, of course, to say 4 by 4 or whatever. But now I'm only getting these two squares at the top of the screen because we have a grid of 16 now. So that means that we now have 16 notes that we can use to trigger these different squares, as you can see. So you can draw whatever pattern you like and make a pattern with squares. Wow. Okay, moving on from that, you can see that it has a little opacity section. I'm going to make it more interesting in a second. The opacity section, so we have a fade out time of 1B, so that means a beat. So of course, in that sense, it's linked to the tempo of the project. So it takes 1 beat to fade out after every note ends. Then there's a little size section that lets me like grow these squares every time a note hits and also shrink after a little while. But that's not that interesting. I'm just going to stick to my little 2 by 2 grid right here. Okay, so then what does this next effect do? Oh no, wait, there's one thing I skipped, and that's the width and the height of these little squares. It's currently 25%, so if I set it to 100, then you can see that it's actually just 4/4 of the screen that it's filling. Okay, so turning it back to 25%, and we get our little squares again. So then a transform, which is just used to reposition the image, it moves it slightly to the left here with this first parameter. So now it hugs the side of the screen. And then we have a color control, which, as you know, now turns all bright pixels into pink. It doesn't do anything else. That's just it. It adds a color to it. So this is a way you can colorize those white squares. Okay, moving on from that. We have two return channels here on the right side, because that's what this whole project is actually about. It's about those return channels. So I have a send here. And like you would do with audio, you can send video to return channels as well. Why? Well, to create, for example, an interesting feedback loop or for parallel processing, and another reason I will get to later as well. So let's just send it to the first return A, and then we get two extra squares. Now we have four that weren't there before, those two. So why is that? Well, on the return channel, we have another transform device, which moves those new squares, those copies, basically, because if this transform device would be off, you know, those two squares would just all be at the same place. So the transform moves it, as you can see, moves that extra square to the right. Okay, cool. And slightly lower. So there you go. Nothing special so far. And then there's a little hue saturation effect. So just the hue saturation, the hue is changed to ever so slightly shift the color of that second square. I can push that a little further if I want, like this, but I don't need to, because here's where it gets interesting. I'm going to create a feedback loop like you can do with audio as well. So I'm going to send return A to return B, and as you can see, return B is being sent back to A, and that's how we create a feedback loop. So now you can see that every extra square is being moved, you know, to the right. And let's go crazy here. Let's open this all the way, and then we get this. And because this is now a feedback loop, whenever you change something down here or add another effect, everything, the result becomes very unpredictable and sometimes very cool. So let me show you what I mean. Let me just put something very simple on this first return track, and it's just a mirror effect, which simply mirrors a half of the screen. Oops. So there you go. We now get a completely different shape, and we get these. If I turn them off and on, you get these. You get something like an arrow on the screen, and you can keep playing with this. Of course, you can change the colors as well. We can saturate this. Oh, if you want to go like really psychedelic or rainbow, we can do that. Wow. Okay. So in this sense, very interesting stuff to work with return channels, and it really offers, you know, yeah, the same workflow as you have with audio, but how you can apply it to video, and it's so easy. So that's really nice to have. And the other reason why having these return channels can be interesting and useful with VideoSync, this is a feature that is not in VideoSync yet. We're currently beta testing it, but it means that every return channel can become a separate output, because this is a question we often get with VideoSync. Is like, how can I get multiple output windows with VideoSync? And currently you can't. But that's something we're working on. And in our current beta, we have the feature implemented that you can send out multiple siphon signals. So what is siphon? Well, if you're familiar with Rewire, it's actually not that much used these days. But anyway, Rewire was a way to get audio from one DAW to another. So that way you could link Reason to Ableton, let's say. So siphon is the same for video. So that way you can get video from one application to another. Why is that interesting? Well, especially in today's day and age with the pandemic and everything, it could be an interesting option to consider live streaming in some sense. And of course, you know, you can already do that. That's not something new. But what if you can add like responsive musical video to your performance that you may do on video online? So that's exactly what our first blog article that I wrote for the new blog on our website is about. It's about using VideoSync in combination with OBS and Twitch to do yeah, an audiovisual live performance, because you can very easily do that. You can already kind of do that with the current version of VideoSync with its preferences. So that's where I am right now. Here it has a little button saying master siphon. So this enables a master output over siphon, so that way you can receive the master output of VideoSync in OBS. The only limit of that is that, of course, you only have one single output window, and that's it. So let's say if you want two different videos on two different locations or in different scenes in OBS, for example, then you might want multiple inputs. So that's something that's coming. And also, if you want to work with multiple projectors, for example, because now I only have one screen. And like, you know, if you want to keep things really simple, you have one extra computer that, or not one extra computer, sorry. If you want to keep things really simple, you just have an extra screen, or in most situations, that would be a projector. So that extra monitor on which you put the VideoSync window is the projector, and on your main screen, on your laptop usually, you have live running. Kind of lost my track a little bit here, but where do I want to go with this any further? Yeah, I guess another great feature we have is that you can, because not all computers are powerful enough to handle video and audio at the same time. So you can offload video processing to a second computer. Also here in the preferences, you have connect to remote Ableton Live. This is incredibly simple to do. You just have an Ethernet cable between your two Macs, because this only works on Apple Mac at the moment. So you can connect the two Macs. You have one on stage, you have one off stage, and the one off stage runs VideoSync, and the one on stage just runs Ableton Live. So that way you separate that processing, and especially, you know, yeah, that's good on its own, I guess, especially if you're running a heavy live set. So yeah, and it's also an easy way to get a computer on a remote location and connect it to a screen. And the only thing you really need to do after connecting the two computers is look up the IP address. So if you go to your network preferences and then simply go to your Ethernet, and then here it shows the IP address. and then you fill in that IP address, and boom, it connects to the computer that's running live. And then they're connected. And then I guess the next question would be, how do you does it send the video over that Ethernet cable? And the answer is no. You actually have to put the video files, the actual video files, on both systems, and then you have to say on the VideoSync system where those files are used. So it basically links them to the file names. So if you have a video file in Ableton Live, let's see, put a video file here. So if I now remote connect, so I have another Mac, I put VideoSync on that Mac, and then I connect these two. The remote Mac would simply look for a file with this file name, with that exact name, and then play that file. So there's my, oops, no, you don't want that. So here is where you say where all those video files are stored, so that VideoSync can find them, because only control data is sent over the Ethernet cable to keep it as lightweight as possible. So all the processing is done by VideoSync on that remote computer that way. So I guess I've been talking a lot. Are there any questions so far?
Yeah, one of the questions, Jean-Paul, was if they can find VideoSync in the pack store on the Ableton website, or where they can find it.
No, they can find it on ShowSync.com. So that's ShowSync.com.
It should be on the comment section too, but if you want to show them.
Show the what?
I shared the link for anybody that's watching us, but if you want to show them like where they would find it on your page.
Yeah, so I mean, if you go to ShowSync.com and on products and then VideoSync, and the great thing is it has a trial. You can just download it. The trial has no time limit. It has all of the features in it. The only thing that the trial has is one of those little cute bouncing logos that appears on the screen every now and then. So you can fully test this out, and then only at the point like where you start doing your show, that's when you really should probably consider to buy a license to get rid of that bouncing logo. But other than that, everything is exactly the same. So I encourage everyone to to try it out yourself. Yeah, I think we should then move on to Beam if there are no more questions.
So just related to VideoSync,
Yeah.
Somebody was asking, how did you make video clips play well with Ableton Live in Session View? If you could speak a little bit about that process.
Wait, could you repeat that? How do you play videos well in Session View?
Yeah, how did you get videos to play in Session View? I guess you, of course, using ShowSync, but if maybe you could show them a little bit of the Max for Live design or something behind it.
Well, there isn't anything you have to do. The only thing you have to do to get videos to play in the Session View is have VideoSync open, like this, and have it connect to Ableton Live, in this case locally. So now it says connected, and it can connect to Ableton Live simply because of the control surface. So here it says the VideoSync control surface. That's how Live connects to VideoSync. That's it. That's all you need to do. After that, you just drag a video file on a slot here in the Session View, and it will play it. That's all there is. There's no Max for Live device required to play back videos. The Max for Live devices are simply additions to do anything else with that video.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's all really.
We've got Christian also asking us, what kind of videos can you use to play?
Any format that QuickTime supports. So on top of that, we also support HAP, so HAP, which is like a very lightweight, efficient video codec.
Good to know.
The only downside of HAP videos is that you cannot preview them in the Finder of macOS. So if you press space, you can easily preview videos like this. But with HAP files, that's not the case. So you'll just look at this. But you can load it into Live, and then it will play. So there you go. That's just a little testing video. But those are very, very lightweight. So that way, that's why that's why we implemented it. I hope that answers your question. Anything else?
Yeah, no, a lot of the other questions you previously answered because the people were wondering if you could get creative in your live streams. Specifically, could people connect, do transmit visuals to Zoom or on Zoom? And I think you covered that really well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yes. There, I could probably link that. It's very simple actually. If people are curious, I can probably show it anyway myself.
I think
Uh,
everybody's on Zoom so much that we're all looking for exciting ways to make it interesting.
yeah, yeah, of course, definitely. No, so yeah, if people are familiar with OBS, I guess you are, Alberto. Um, so if you just go to OBS, it's very, very simple, very simple. It just needs to start up for a moment. Uh, Not now. So here we have OBS, and in OBS, here we have a little section called sources, and then we can add a source, and then wait, what? This looks different from what I'm used to. Is this an older version? What? Oh, that's confusing. I should have a. What am I missing here? Do you know,
Um,
Alberto?
yeah, I'm here. Are you looking for a video capture device?
No, I'm looking for siphon source, but it's not here. Why is
Hmm.
that? So I guess it's just an older version because I haven't touched this OBS on this computer in a very long time. But anyway, normally you would see like a little siphon client you can select here, and then it allows you to select the the siphon output from VideoSync. So that way you can get your VideoSync output onto the OBS screen, and that way you can start streaming it to the internet on whatever streaming platform you desire. And on top of that, to get audio from live into OBS, you also need a little application called Loopback, or what was the other one again? Soundflower. Um, I think, yeah, that's how you can get audio from live into OBS as well. You need like a little extension for that. Um, so that's how you could live stream with VideoSync, because obviously all the clubs are closed right now, so it's going to take a while before we can use those big projectors again.
At the very
Um,
least, have very interesting meetings throughout the week.
yeah, I
John
mean, I
Paul.
haven't used it with Zoom itself yet, unless like this. I mean,
Mhm.
we're calling on Zoom right now, so obviously I'm just sharing my screen. But yeah,
And I guess
um,
John Paul, before you move on to Beam,
sure.
somebody else was asking. I guess Christian was also asking if you can make different layers, like in Resolume, of
Uh,
video.
Different layers. Well, I'm not sure what layers are in Resolume because I haven't really used it in like 10 years, probably is the last time I used it. Um, just I don't know. Anyway, can you make layers? I guess it's kind of
I
dumb
think he
that
means like stacking videos.
yeah. Well, that's kind of what I perhaps this person tuned in later. But that's kind of what I tried to show and what you can do with the properties device. So let me go through that again real quick. You have a properties device. You put that on a channel whenever you want to change something, some specific properties of that channel. So here you have your blend modes. So in that sense, you have your alpha. In that sense, you can stack, or you can say how this channel can be on top of the other ones. And you can group certain oh shit, my keyboard is not working. That's why. You can group two channels. You can group as many channels. Everything works the same as with audio. You can put your properties on a group. So now you can decide how the entire group is blended with the other channels or groups, whatever you want. And also, if you use racks, like you can do like parallel processing the same way you would with audio, but now with video. One little feature that is missing here, I guess, But that's because live just doesn't, or Ableton doesn't really give us that data, or anyone, let's say. You cannot use the chain selector here to create your own crossfades or something like that. But you can put different video effects on the different chains and then use the volume control to show the effect, to show that image in the composition, let's say. Does
Thanks
that
for
make
answering
sense?
that. Yeah, thanks for answering those.
Okay, you're welcome. So we're chugging along nicely here. So I've covered that all. Yeah, okay, so let's get to Beam. So let's get rid of VideoSync first, because it's goodbye. And let's open a new project. And now that we're familiar with this workflow with video, and I guess one more thing that I should add, it kind of goes without saying actually, but with any of those video effects, you can automate anything. And of course you can automate things in the, let me show you. So if we have a MIDI clip, and now if you want to change any video parameter over time, you just automate it, just like with video effects. Or you can modulate it like I showed earlier with Max for Live elbows. Any way you prefer working, yeah, we'll work with video here as well. Okay. We can get back to VideoSync later if there are more questions, but I guess for now it's better to move on to Beam. So let's launch Beam, and this is it. It's I have to admit it's probably not a very impressive interface, but that's because Beam is very young, and yeah, there's still a lot of room for improvement, I guess. But like I said, it's very young. We're still looking for a lot of user feedback. So if anyone has ideas or opinions or whatever, feel free to share those with us on our forum, or contact us directly if you want to know more about this stuff, or simply share your opinion. Okay, so what can Beam do? Well, what VideoSync does for video, Beam does for lighting. So I guess I should explain a little bit of the workflow with lighting first, for who isn't familiar with that. Abbreviation we use a lot here is DMX. So that's the, I guess the sort of universe you operate in with data in lighting, in the lighting world. It's called DMX. I'll get to it in a little bit. So what do we want to do? We want to control lights with Ableton Live. And how do we want to do it? Well, I guess the same as you're used to, with MIDI notes and envelopes, but now for lights. And it would be nice to trigger lights the same time you trigger certain sounds, for example. It looks great with drum kits, by the way. And it's also a very easy solution of getting a simple responsive light kit. Like if you're a small band, or yeah, just don't have a lot of money to spend on a lot of lighting gear or a lighting technician. Because the whole idea of Beam is that you put your whole lighting show in live alongside the whole audio part. And after you have created your whole show, you really don't have to change anything anymore in the project ever, unless you really want to. What I mean with that is, of course, usually when you perform live, you go from venue to venue, and no venue is 100% the same, or none of them have exactly the same lights, or you just simply need to change a couple of patch numbers. That's basically all you have to do whenever you go to a new venue, is change the patch, which means like which lights respond to which channels. So let me show you what I mean, or let me try at least. I'm not only going to use Beam here, by the way. I'm going to use one other application here, and that is because I don't have any actual lights right here, just apart from the casual lights. But nothing I control. I can control the DMX. So for that, instead, I'm going to use a visualizer, and the visualizer is called Capture. And I'm using Capture 2019, sorry, because 2020 doesn't support NVIDIA graphics cards, but that's just a small little detail. Anyway, So I'm using the older version because I have a slightly older iMac. And here it works fine. So here we have Capture. So this is not Beam, just to be clear. This is a different app. And what is this actually? It's a visualizer. It allows you to create a stage, put up lights, assign addresses to those lights like you would in the real world. And then, yeah, this is what you connect to with Beam. And so this may as well just be the real situation. What I mean with that is I have this little device. Well, I'll get to that in a second, actually. Let me just go back to Beam. There we go. Beam, lost you. There you go. Okay. So, as I said, lighting data is being transmitted over DMX. That's what it's called. One DMX channel has, or one DMX universe has 512 channels, and we can control lights with those different channels. Just to show you a little bit about the interface. First, we have the patch. But let me get to the preferences first, because we can select our type of output here. And right now, I'm using this little box. I'm not sure if anyone can see, but it's like a little USB connected box, which has one XLR output and a 5-pin output, which is just for DMX. So this one has one universe as an output. So I could connect this to just a couple of LED lights or LED strips, go on tour with those, and have a great responsive lighting kit. So I have this one connected to USB. That's why it's shown here in the menu. The other option is ArtNet, which is a bit more professional, just like with Ethernet cables. But anyway, I'm going to use ArtNet right now, because like I said, I don't have any actual lights connected to my box here. And ArtNet is, yeah, it goes over network. And this IP address means it's the local host, the same computer. So I'm sending all my DMX data now to the same computer, and Capture is fetching that data and visualizing it, basically. So this is a demo, the Capture 2019 demo. The only limit here, I think, is a time limit. So I think after like 30 minutes, it will just say, hey, I'm going to call it later. But I'll just reopen it because I'm just using the default project here, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. Okay, so how do we control these lights in this virtual theater, which may as well have been a real theater? Well, we have those lights here, and you can see it's probably a bit small to read, but I have my whole list of lights here that are used on this set. And behind every light is a patch number. So for example, let me look up the pars. So I have, I've counted them before, 24 pars, but they're paired together. So I have 12 channels, starting at 428. So let's keep that in mind. We're going to control these pars now with Ableton Live. But first, we have to make the patch, because we have to, well, let me show you at these fixtures. So I'm going to press Add Fixtures here in the patch list. I'm just going to type pars, call these lights pars. And I'm going to use a generic dimmer because that's what you use for these type of pars. It's just, yeah, it's just a dimmer to control the intensity of the light. You can, of course, control moving heads as well, but we'll get to that later. So I said it was 12 pars in the address they started at. And as you can see, 428, I was talking about DMX and 512 channels. Well, this is number 428 of those 512. So every par, in this case, controls, takes up one channel. So 428, that's 528, 428. And then here's the important part, tags. I'm going to call these all pars, create. And then I'm going to say add to patch. And here we are. We have our pars. This is now our patch list. And yeah, so we have our pars. How do we control them now? Well, with Beam and with the plugins here. So again, in the user library, the first time you start up Beam, it installs the control surface for Beam and the plugins for Beam into the user library. So here I have 3 instruments, of which I'm just going to use the par instrument. I'm going to put it on this second MIDI channel. Let's get rid of the first one. And with this first drop-down menu, I can select from the list of tags that I have in my patch. I currently have one tag. I called it all parse because it controls all parse. All parse are assigned to that tag. So now I can control all the parse that belong in that tag with this one device here. And let me just full screen this or something. Go away, redness. What is this? Oh, well. Oh, now I changed the angle. Oh, well. Let's turn on the light. Oh, yes. We are looking at something that is not... oh, that's the bottom of the stage, I think. Oh, it's a wall. There we go. That's the stage. Okay, we're back. We're back. Okay, so we have intensity here. And as you can see, very simple. I can now use this intensity knob to control the intensity for all the parts. How can I make this musical? Well, we have a little envelope section down here, which responds to MIDI. So I can create a MIDI clip, and yeah, now the real question is, what MIDI notes are they going to respond to? Well, that's something you can configure in Beam. So here we see that the first set of parts is being controlled by C3 within that tag group. The second group is C#3, D3, D#3, etc., etc. So let me turn off the intensity here and go back to the MIDI clip. And now I'm just going to trigger the C3. That's a pair of pars. And as you can see, I can trigger all these pars now with different notes. And they all follow the same envelope, which means they take equally long to fade out, which is musical in this case as well, because it has a release set in beats once again. So the fade out time, again, is 1 beat. So I don't know, we can probably create something interesting here, just real quick. Yep. I don't know. Let's go up here. There we go. We have our little sequence. See, and that's just conventional lighting. So we have a little color selector here, but these are conventional pars. So that means that they only have one channel on and off, and somewhere in between. But you have LED pars as well, of course, and you can control the color of those LED pars here as well. So what about moving heads, for example? How does that work? Well, first I have to go into Capture again to see what they're actually patched at in the venue, what addresses they are at. So let's go for the studio color. Okay, so the studio color, it starts at address number 1, so that's going to be easy. And how many are there? There are 10. It's also easy. So I can say studio colors. Or actually, it fills in a name when I select it here. Let me look for it. There it is. Studio color. If I would have left this empty, then I think it should. There you go. It fills in a name automatically. That's much easier. So now I lost the light again. There it is. Okay. So 10 lights. The address starts at number 1. And as you can see, as I will show you, moving hits. Just let's keep things simple. Add. It will start at channel number 1, and because this particular fixture takes up 16 DMX channels to control all of the parameters of that lighting fixture, of that moving head, it will put every next moving head, as you can see, 16 channels down the line. So that's really nice. Okay, so we have another tag group now, and we have another instrument here, which is actually a copy of the pars device, only it has 2 extra parameters, pan and tilt. And obviously, most of these moving heads have more features than that, like gobos and things like that. You can control those with another device, or you could modify this. If you're a little handy with Max for Live, you can add extra knobs to control those extra features. But that takes a little bit of Max for Live experience. Anyway, let's control the moving heads. And let's set this to full screen again. I'm not sure how we get rid of this monstrosity here. Oh well, this looks fine. Okay, so again, I feel like we are at an interesting angle. Yeah, that's better. So moving heads, I've got them on all the way. Then I can tilt them like that. I can pan them. Whoopee. And of course, I can take an LFO from Extra Live and then assign that to the pan. And let's again slow this down like dramatically and also really decrease the depth here. And maybe let's point them down a little bit so we get a nice wash of light. It's just moving around the venue now. Wow. Okay. Again, I can turn off the intensity, and they will just keep moving back and forth now because they're just constantly modulated by the Max for Live device. And again, same thing goes here. I can see which notes they all respond to. It always starts at C3, right? I can actually change that if I want to. But yeah, let's just stick to C3 right now. That's one moving head. There's another. Of course, I can trigger multiple at the same time. I don't know. Let's do something crazy like this. Boom. Okay, that wasn't very. Oh well. And the notes are very short. I can create different notes, so some might stay on longer, of course, and then they still will follow the same envelope. So there you go. And then maybe if you want to automate things, because that's the tricky part, I guess. Sometimes you want to create clips and you want lights to maybe move in very specific directions. Then you would have to automate those movements. I know I lost my train of thought here for a second, but
mentioning automating movements.
Sorry?
Automating the movement using LFO.
Oh yeah, so that's something you can still do in the my keywords not working again in the arrangement view. And why am I saying this? Because in the clips here, you can automate here in the clips, no problem. But you can always only see like one parameter at a time. So let's say you want to I don't know, control the I don't know, let's say the tilt, and you just wanted to yeah, just wanted to do something like this every beat, for example. And then, I don't know, if you have like 10 of these lines and you have to switch all the time between them, I don't know if that's the best way, or the most convenient way, let's say. So I guess a more convenient way would be to do all this first, to create your whole lighting show in the arrangement view, put all your automation in here, and then at the end of the ride, once you've got it all there, you can start putting clips in the session view with all the automation in them already. So you don't all have to do all that in this less preferable screen for this, I guess. Yeah, any questions so far about this?
Yeah, there's a question about Windows compatibility. Is there a Windows version, or is there plans to release a Windows version anytime soon?
There is no Windows version. Yes, there are plans to release a Windows version. Right. And one thing I should add, although it's not yet officially supported, we just need to test a few things further, but it should already work. What you can do is use a Windows computer to run live, connect that with Ethernet to the Mac. That runs Beam, because Beam can only run on Mac. But you can run Beam remotely, just like VideoSync. So in the preferences of Beam, where are you? It's not showing up. Or it's hiding from me. I don't know. Beam. There you are. Okay. So you have your I/O tab, and then here you have the same feature, which is just nice to have if you have like one computer off stage where everything is, for the show. Then you can run Beam on that computer as well. So you can run your live set, everything Ableton Live on a Windows computer while doing all the video, and because it's the same for VideoSync. VideoSync will run this way, will work this way as well if you connect it to a Windows computer. But like I said, it's not really officially supported yet. We're working on it still. And of course, full Windows support is on the wish list. Yeah, but that's for the time being. Yeah, that would answer your question, I think. Anything else?
People were asking if you could show your interface, DMX, again.
Sure.
Just
Yeah,
explain that a little bit.
my DMX interface. Well, it's very simple. I don't know. I could probably. Oh God.
And also, if there are any alternatives, or is
There you go.
DMX is basically the one?
So there you go. There's like two. There's one XLR output, one 5-pen XLR output, which is just 5 strings of cable for DMX. Anyway, and there's like a foot switch, but I don't know what it's used for. And then on the other side, it's simply USB 2, baby. And yeah, there's even simpler devices than this, just with one single output and one USB input on the other side, or Ethernet, and then it would work over ArtNet, which also travels, by the way, over much longer distance. So the USB interface can't go very far for your computer, but if you use ArtNet and Ethernet cables, then it can go a lot further. So there are very simple, small. Let me actually look one up. And I guess generally the brand you want to go for that makes these things, at least the ones I'm familiar with. I think my keyboard died. It just said, no, I won't go on. Do I have any spare battery? Anyone? Spare battery?
Oh no, we need volunteer double A's if anybody's got some.
I don't. How are we gonna fix that? Oh well. Give me a second.
Yeah, sure. We'll just stand by, everybody.
All these things.
Yeah, and if anybody's got any questions, it'd be a great time to post them in the chat. And I also wanted to remind everybody that if you have any ideas for presentations for the Ableton user group, if you're working on a cool project, or you've got any cool tips that you want to share with people, there's a link in the description. You can sign off to do that.
Oh, wait. Oh.
All right.
I lost my screen.
Good old hardwired keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah, and an extension cable.
Thanks, man. Thanks for being a champ. You're rerouting your entire studio for us.
Just the keyboard. Just the keyboard. Let's see if this works. Almost there. Hold on. Yeah, you gotta love wireless. And charging your batteries.
I know, right? Is it chargeable, or are you running on?
No, I'm running old school. Running AA batteries, but yeah, I don't have any spare ones. But I have a connected keyboard now. Awesome. What was I gonna show again? What was I doing?
You were we were answering questions actually, and we were
Oh
talking about.
yes, I remember. I was going to look for DMX interfaces. Um, ooh, oh yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I can. Where's my Zoom? Yep. All right. So here we go. So this is the box. It's called the brand's called NTech, and DMX is the box that I have, but it's not necessarily the one you need. Because this one actually comes with its own software, which is which has been around for a long time. But you can use it as a general DMX interface for our software. And this is like the one over Ethernet. So I'm not sure if there are any other pictures. Yeah, there you go. So you can see there's an Ethernet cable going in here, and on the other side we get DMX out. But this is 5-pin. So some fixtures you need 5-pin cables or a converter to 3-pin, which are not very expensive. And that's kind of, I guess, the whole point of our software, VideoSync and Beam, is like to be able to facilitate yourself with videos and with video and lighting control, all from within Live, from one single application, from one single project file that controls everything at once, which allows you to not require a specific theater technician to come with you on shows. Or I mean, of course, there's the building up the stage or things like that, but you can basically do a lot more yourself now, which can make things a lot easier and certainly certainly more exciting. Like in small venues, like imagine like being like playing in a very small bar or venue and just bringing a few lights that are linked to your drummer. How much of an impact that already can have, rather than just playing with boring lights in a bar. Because not all places you have the luxury of having great lights. So what if you can just bring a few spots with you yourself, and yeah, it's hugely effective, I think. And you can make this as big as you like. So I guess one more project that I want to show for Beam at least. This is a demo set, so you can download this from our website. This is on the support website, mind you. So just to give you an idea as well, so if you go to support.showsync.com, it's my little corner. Then here in the Beam manual, you have a tutorial which will take you through the installation. And here you can download this exact demo set, which contains 3 files: a Beam patcher file, which yeah, is just the patch, the Beam file. There's an Ableton Live project, and then there is project file for Capture, the visualizer. So let me open Capture, and I should open that patch list for Beam. Close this. There you go. So I just opened the file, and there you go. It loads all the this is the whole patch, and yeah. So all of the data is here in the project. I have here everything in the arrangement view. Just to be clear, there's nothing in the session view. See, this is all empty. And a lot of stuff happens in MIDI, and a lot of stuff happens in automation. And currently, there's only one channel that handles audio. That's the bottom one. It's just the waveform, just one track, and the rest is all lighting. So. Here's your speaker here. And then we actually should see something, of course. That would be nice. But it's not. Why not? Because we're connected to a remote Ableton Live, which we shouldn't be. And yeah, we're broadcasting over audio. There we go. Now we're connected. So this is something you can do as well, of course. I don't have any of the live processing for audio here. Only for lighting. But as you can see, we composed this lighting show so that it sounds like it's completely responsive to the music. And it's just to show you like what you can do how things come together. You can download Capture for free, like I said, it's a demo. I know so you can start playing around with all this once you download it.
Paul, can we make the music a little quieter just so we can hear you better?
Wait, could you repeat that?
Can we make the music a little quieter just so we can hear you a little bit better? You were audible, but I think it could come down a little, like maybe
Yeah,
6
you
dB.
you sounded like you were talking through another dimension there for a second, but I think you're back to normal now. Oh no,
I usually am.
you sound very digital, but that could just be on my end. Very glitchy. Can you say something again?
Yeah, test 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, that's better. That sounds great. Yeah, sorry if the music is a bit loud. It's not really essential here anyway. Like I said, this video is we rendered this as a video. It's on YouTube as well on our ShowSync channel, where you can watch this if you really want to. Or like I said, you can download this whole project yourself. Is there anything else that I probably I forgot a lot of stuff. So fuck it. Let's. Are there any questions so far about this?
No specific questions that you haven't answered already. A lot of people saying that this is great, that this is very inspiring. A lot of hands waving, sending you support, saying hello all the way to Amsterdam.
Nice. Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess one thing I wanted to add is if you go to this, if you add a fixture, and then you can choose from this list of fixtures, and I guess to anyone who's more experienced with lighting like this, you'll know that this is a very short list of fixtures. So, like I said, Beam is still very young. So our list of supported fixtures is very small, but that doesn't mean that that can change. In fact, you can create your own fixture profiles, but we just simply cannot provide every single fixture profile out there straight from the get-go. So at some point, we want to make it easier for users to be able to submit their own fixture profiles. Because right now, you can only just create them, just with a different window. And then we go to the fixture editor. So this is the patch editor that we have been looking at so far. And then the second window here is the fixture editor. And it has three parameters here by default: red, green, and blue. If we want to add more parameters, like the dim, for example, so that controls the intensity of the light. Yeah, I guess. Anyway, so you can, so the way you would do this normally is like you would grab the manual from the lighting fixture, you would look it up, because there's always like a list, like which address corresponds to which feature on the fixture, right? So address number 1 controls, in this case, the red color. Address number 2 controls green, etc., etc. So you walk this down until you have all the addresses, and the addresses are the channels, basically. So this particular fixture would already take up 4 channels. Just to control those 4 different features. And then when you're done, then you simply save it. Very simple. And it will save it to a specific folder here for Beam in the fixture profiles folder. And then you have a factory folder. Those are the ones that we are familiar with now. And then here you have a folder for your user patches, for your user fixtures. Your own fixture profiles, and as soon as you add a fixture profile to this folder, it will be shown. If we add a new fixture, then it will show that new fixture in this list. So this is just a collective of the user and factory folder. If you want to know where that factory folder is, you also have a little button here in the top left. It says fixture profiles. This will take you exactly to the folder where those fixture profiles are created. And they're JSON files. So if there are any programmers in there, you can also simply open them in a text editor. And then just change the text instead. But of course, we want to make this easier and easier for users. So all that, hard stuff is not necessary anymore.
John Paul,
yeah.
Viewer named Noah was very interested in watching the full sequence. If you wouldn't mind sharing it.
This one right here, I guess.
Yeah, with some music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sharing it. I guess I can just give you the entire link here. Can I copy link? Can I give this to you in
yeah,
Zoom?
Or you can put it in the chat.
Yeah, that's what I mean. How did I?
I'll text you. You'll get a little notification.
There you go. Here. Boom. That's the zip file. Let me look up the video as well. And are there any other things that I want to mention? Yeah, so if you want to read up on that blog article, I hope we will have the blog up soon to read about that article about how to stream online. But it's really not that hard if you're familiar with OBS. But if not, then the article is there for you. Here you go. Video. Give you the link to that as well.
Yeah, I guess they meant if you could just play a little bit of the set so they could see a little bit
like
more
that.
of
Yeah, my bad.
The music reaction to the lights.
Again, you can solo stuff like cars, all those flickering lights, studio spots. That's these. The techno beams. They only show up. Here it comes. Here it comes. Boom. Color here was automated, if anyone noticed. So we changed the color of those side beams. As well. Front light went on here a little bit. imagine being able to control the front light of the theater or venue where you're at. Just have a oh crap. Just have a media controller where you just control all the different groups of lights. You can just turn on the lights yourself like that. That would be cool to do.
So cool.
So
And
yeah,
modify them in real time too, right? Because you can override automation.
yeah, yeah. So if you just want to talk to the audience and just turn it on, turn on the
Jean
blinders.
Paul, Tom is asking us if like ShowSync would replace the concept of light chases. Like if scenes would be light, would be the chases. Doesn't make
Okay,
100%.
so oh wow, how did that happen? Come back.
You're taking us backstage.
Yeah, let me show you. Let me show you what it looks like backstage. Anyway, chases. Yeah, we don't really have those in here yet. Like the chase, you kind of make yourself every time. Those are the clips basically. Um, However, we have gotten the request as well to be able to create chases as a as a single note trigger, right? So that it would be nice to be able to trigger an entire sequence of whatever lights flickering just with the press of one MIDI note, for example. So you get different chases on different MIDI notes in drum rack, for example. That would be a feature that we're looking at still. To make it a little bit easier and not have everything written in automation, but like there would be a nice way to sort of record a sequence of lighting things happening, if that makes sense what I'm saying. But yeah, anyway, we're working on that. And that is my final answer.
That's great. That we'll accept that. And that's our seems to be our final question, unless
Oh,
folks
okay.
have anything else.
All right.
That was a
Um,
great presentation.
I have one more thing actually that we talked about briefly just before the presentation. Um, for all the viewers that we have had here tonight, first of all, thank you as well. But we're going to send you a coupon code somewhere in the next few days with 10% discount for Beam and or Videosync. So it's 10% discount on whatever you want to buy. So we'll send that by email because yeah, Alberto provided us with the list of signups. So we'll just send you one email. We're not going to spam you. I'll just stick to one email just because of this event. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, I'll let you do that yourself after you've checked out VideoSync and Beam. So
Yeah,
we'll
and if
send
anybody's watching us, I just wanted to say they didn't get a chance to RSVP. I'll have my contact information at the end of the stream, and you can hit me up, and I'll pass that along too.
No, that's great. That'd be great. Uh, if there are no further questions, I lost my own to-do list. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, and we're also we also have a forum. Yes, yes, on our website. We also have like a closed off beta area there. So if anyone is interested in trying out the latest and greatest updates of Beam and VideoSync, or if you want to simply voice your opinion easily on the latest updates or help improve VideoSync or Beam, we have our forum for that. And let us know there on the forum if you want access to the beta versions of Beam and VideoSync, and we'll help you set that up. But yeah, the address again, very simple, forum.showsync.com, or of course you can always contact us directly. We have a very big link on our website that says email us. So feel free to email us or use the forum for anything, yeah, related to tonight and the stuff that we've looked at. So yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, John Paul. We had a lot of people, more so than questions, just appreciating your time and your knowledge, getting really excited about trying this out, and we've
Awesome.
been pasting those links in the description so that people can follow along and follow your work and follow your blog too.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's great. Yeah, and like I said, we're always looking for feedback from new users. So it's always nice to hear, how you experience or using VideoSync or Beam, and how we can improve it. So yeah, very happy to have done this presentation. And, it was nice. It's
Yeah,
weird not seeing the
we're happy
audience
to
and
have
stuff.
you.
But, it's nice
I
to
know,
know.
no, we had really good attendance too. It's always weird doing a presentation on Zoom and having those like blanks. Sometimes I'll blank out. I'll forget I'm on Zoom. I'm just in my room talking to myself,
Yeah,
and I have
exactly.
to. What the hell am I doing right now?
Yeah. No, I saw your name in the corner of my screen, so I know someone was listening to me at least. So no, that's good.
Yeah, no, this was actually very well attended compared to our to what we see and compared to in real life. So we're excited to grow this community, and I think people are excited to learn from artists like yourself that are doing interesting stuff that's filling a gap that everybody has in their shows right now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And hopefully making it as easy as possible to implement it yourself. That's the
Man,
goal.
I don't know if you could make it easier. That seemed very straightforward, very easy to get started.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's what we're going for, man. Less is more. Keep it simple. It's that's the whole benefit of it is that you don't need to learn a whole new application. Well, just little parts maybe, but not a whole new application. So yeah,
And then if you just know automation and envelopes, you can really personalize your show.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you can. I showed it separately now, of course. Video sync and Beam, but of course you can do it all together in one project. Um,
Yeah. So for everybody watching, go ahead and support VideoSync and Beam and try to get into some creative trouble with it and share it with Jean Paul, share it with me, and we'd
yeah,
love to see what you're doing with it.
definitely. Send it
Well,
our
thanks for
way.
your time, man. You've been very generous.
What
Sorry.
time is it? Oh, yeah, it's all okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What time is it over there? It's 8:30 over here.
It's a little past 4:30 a.m. No,
Wow.
3:30 a.m. Sorry, 3:30 a.m. Yeah. So
Cool.
nighttime. I'm not even tired. No, this is fun to do. So thanks for having me, and thanks for all the people watching. It's really nice.
Yeah. Thanks again. Thanks, Jean Paul. And you're welcome back anytime. Everybody watching, don't forget to join us. We've only got 2 more of these, unfortunately, for the 8-week series, and then we're gonna pause and regroup. But we've got our very own Tom Carlisle, Ableton Certified Trainer, and he's gonna talk about driving Touch Designer with Ableton Live. That's gonna be really interesting if you enjoyed today's presentation. And we've got producer Matthew Triba, and he's going to cover easy production and mixing workflows. So that's gonna be really cool. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And once again, thanks for Jean Paul. Thanks to John Paul for your time. Very generous, man.
Yeah.